If I asked you to open the most recent photo on your phone and tap details, would you see just a pretty picture? Or would a little map pin pop up with the exact spot you took it, down to the minute and the phone model? For most people, the answer is uncomfortable. Geotags aren't a minor detail. They're coordinates to your life, quietly tucked inside the file. Today we'll unpack what your photos actually carry, where that information leaks, how it creates real-world risk, and how to share your memories without handing out spare keys to your reality. Before we go deeper, two terms in plain English so nothing feels technical or distant. A geotag is a set of GPS coordinates saved in a photo or video file. Latitude, longitude, sometimes altitude, basically a map stamp. EXIF metadata is the file's passport, the camera or phone model, the exact time, exposure settings, and often the geotag. Those words can sound nerdy, but the idea is simple. A picture is an image plus the notes scribbled on the back. If the notes are too precise, the picture starts saying more than you intended. All right, you post an innocent shot from a cafe, just a cup, a table, your hand, no signboard, no address. Feels safe. But inside the file is a dot on a map, a timestamp to the minute, and your phone's make and model. 2 or 3 posts like that, and a stranger can triangulate where you like to be in the mornings, which days you linger, the name of the coffee shop, and when your apartment is probably empty. That's not paranoia. That's the math of habits. We're not afraid of coffee. We just don't want coffee to talk louder than we do. Let me add 2 quick clarifications that will keep us aligned. When I say strip a photo, I mean removing the metadata that reveals more than you want. When I say visual tells, I mean the clues in the frame that give away location even without geotags, store signs, street numbers reflected in a window, a kid's school jersey, a recognizable skyline from your window. Tech is half the story. A careful look is the other half. Here's the most common belief that gets people into trouble. Social platforms remove all that stuff, so I'm fine. Some networks do strip EXIF in public feeds, especially to save space. Not all of them, and not always. Often the original lives untouched in your cloud library, and the cloud shows maps for your convenience. Messaging apps add more confusion. If you send something as a photo, many apps compress it and drop metadata. If you send it as a file, the recipient gets the untouched original with everything inside, and a detail that's easy to miss. A shared album link on some services will display the location in the interface, even if EXIF is stripped out of the downloaded file. Search engines and caches also love remembering little preview cards where location is stored as a separate field. Relying on automatic cleaning is like hoping a hotel housekeeper will guess which documents in your backpack are too private to leave out. Let's build a tiny practical bridge without turning this into a software tutorial. Phones and laptops can already show you what's inside. On iPhone or Android, swipe up on a photo or tap Info. On Mac or Windows, open Get Info or Properties. If you see a map or location, the geotag is there. The tone matters here. This isn't a scare, it's a fact you can control. One more short phrase demystified before we get to the risks. Reverse geocoding just means turning coordinates into a human address, street, building, venue name. Maps do it, search engines do it, so do curious strangers who paste numbers into Google. That's why a geotag isn't just digits. It's basically an address with training wheels. Now for the not-so-pretty part, where geotags hit you in real life. First is stalking, when someone posts a repeating pattern of homework gym with precise pins. They're drawing a map of their routine for anyone who cares to look. No hacking required. Second is burglary and travel. We're in Miami all week. Plus a location pin is a polite announcement that your house is empty until Tuesday. Third is doxxing, publishing private details. A single conference selfie with a badge and a geotag may expose your employer and the exact entrance you use. Fourth is corporate security, a snapshot from a restricted floor where the fire map shows your suite number and emergency exits can be more sensitive than any email. Notice the pattern? It's not criminals broke into a database. It's we hand-delivered the place and time in a neatly labeled envelope. Let's move to the habits that save you energy because they become automatic. On most modern phones, when you share a photo, there's a simple option to omit location. Use it. If you're short on time and aren't sure what's inside, the old screenshot trick often helps. A screenshot typically doesn't carry the original file's EXIF. I'm not pitching this as a hack, more like a backup parachute. The real win is learning the 2 or 3 gestures in your gallery, so you stop guessing and just share cleanly. Should you remove geotags always? Not necessarily. In your private library, metadata is beautiful. It builds a map of your life, grandma's place, that hiking trail, your child's first day at a new school. But a private archive isn't a public post. Publicly, it's smarter to share the image without the passport stamps and keep the full version safely stored. That compromise doesn't wreck convenience. It gives you choice. A little tech in easy language so you're never surprised. File formats differ. JPEG is common. HEIC and RAW can hold more detail than you expect. Live photos and videos carry extra layers, mini clips, audio, a burst of frames. You don't have to memorize acronyms. Just hold one idea. If the file is smarter, check it more carefully. You don't need special tools. Your phone's info panel gets you there, and a quick pass in your editor reassures you before the post leaves your device. The theme here is unhurried sharing, not 10 seconds before you hop out of the Uber. Here's a retention hook to keep you with me a few more minutes. If I gave you one single photo and asked you to guess the address from a spoon reflection, you'd laugh. If I gave you 5 photos from the same cafe over 1 week, you'd nail the address and my schedule. For a burglar, that's gold. He doesn't even need a geotag when discipline replaces it. So when I say remove metadata, I'm also saying scan the frame. Apartment numbers in a hallway, school crests on a kid's hoodie, a license plate. They're just coordinates written with letters and digits. Let's talk platforms and messengers without drowning you in specifics. Public networks usually strip EXIF and feeds. Stories and albums sometimes show location inside the interface. That's no longer in the file, that's on the page. Messaging apps let you send as photo or as file. Photo often drops metadata, file often preserves it. Cloud links default to anyone with the link, which can display whatever the service thinks is helpful, including place and time. My rule of thumb, and this is hygiene, not fear, is to ask 3 simple questions before sharing. Who's the audience? What exactly am I sending? And is this meant to live forever? If the answers are broad, precise location, and yes, your gut already knows something needs adjusting, give me a slow, calm beat here. Call it a safety pause. If you work with kids, run a public account, organize events, or film inside workplaces, set a few defaults. Default, camera location off on the device used for content. Default, shared albums don't display maps. Default, posts from a location go out with a small delay, hours, not seconds. This doesn't smother creativity. It creates a cushion in time and space so you stay the narrator of your own story. Sometimes the danger isn't the where, it's the when. Timestamps plus posting rhythm build a timer for your life. People post on a schedule without realizing it, and schedules are easy to read. 3 Sunday posts at 11:15 a.m. from the same corner tell a stranger the word habit. Habits are predictable. Predictability is a gift for anyone who hunts things other than likes. So even if your frame is location-free, think about time. A small delay can have a big effect. Let's touch tools lightly. The built-in Don't Share Location toggle during sharing is the fastest fix. EXIF viewers reassure you what's inside the file. Desktop utilities can batch strip metadata across dozens of photos when you're prepping an album. I don't want to turn this into a software tour. The point is logic, not brand names. Every tool is a screwdriver. The task is tightening only the screws you actually need. And yes, Sometimes a screenshot really is the fastest way to remove notes on the back when you're in a hurry. One more hook, especially useful for teams, brands, or big families. Imagine a content phone with location always off, accounts set up strictly for public work, and no anyone with the link albums floating in your cloud. That saves nerves when staff rotate, when interns post stories, when contractors shoot behind the scenes in your office. It's not about distrusting people. It's about building a system that outsmarts accidents. You might be thinking, but geotags can be helpful. Why make them the villain? Fair. Geolocation enriches a private archive. It lets you find that trail or that cafe instantly. In journalism, science, and investigations, metadata can be essential. But a public post is a contract with the world. The more precise the detail, the more precise the world's response. The key is comfort with the dial. You should be able to set it higher or lower without friction. A special case deserves a moment. Live photos, short clips, bursts, and layered formats behave oddly across services. Some separate the mini video, some host preview cards separately, some show the map at the album level. The most practical advice is hands-on. Before sharing something widely, first share it narrowly, to yourself. Open that link in an incognito window and look at it like a stranger. If it's clean, share it. If it isn't, you just saved yourself a late-night message that starts with, "Why does everyone know our address?" Catching and delay are another reality check. Sometimes you scrub the geotag and re-upload it, but the platform still shows an old preview with a map. That's normal. Caches have a life of their own. Time and a refresh solve it, or you regenerate the link. The important thing is knowing that systems have inertia. You didn't mess up. The infrastructure is just catching up. Say this calmly to yourself. It reduces the stress of the wait. Let's land this without moralizing, but with a clear shape so you leave with confidence. Geotags aren't good or bad. They're a tool. Control starts with awareness. When you check the info panel and see a map, you know what's hitchhiking with that smile in your frame. Control continues with tiny habits. Exclude location when you share, watch the background, post with a small delay, separate your private archive from your public window. Control gets sturdier with a couple of system choices. By default, location is off on the content device. By default, shared albums don't show maps. By default, location sharing isn't part of workflows that involve multiple people. And I don't want you to leave with 100 items to do. I want you to leave with one move that sticks. Take the last photo in your gallery, tap Info. See what's there. If there's a pin, try sharing that photo to yourself without location and compare the results. If it looks clean, you just learned how. If it doesn't, you just found the button that turns background anxiety into quiet. From there, it becomes muscle memory, like buckling a seatbelt or locking your door.